Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Expendable Show. I'm your host, The Expendable. With us today in picture is the lovely Shauna. Hello, Shauna.
Hi, guys.
Okay, so it's just weird talking to a picture. I don't know.
Oh, shut
It's
up.
weirding me out.
This is one of my
It's
good
weirding me
pictures
out,
too.
dog.
This is one of my photo shoot pictures. This is from my acting portfolio. Ooh. Yeah, I know y'all didn't know that.
I was gonna say something really smart, and then my better judgment kicked in at the last second, and I just said,
I'm
"No,
so
don't do it."
glad that you didn't do it. Yay. You're learning. I'm so proud.
No, I'm not gonna learn ever. So, if you like my show, like, subscribe, and ding the bell. It helps my channel grow, of course.
We like
So
making new friends.
yeah, we like new friends. We like when people get into the comment section and talk and just goof around. And I think one time the comment section turned into beer. One time it turned into mushrooms. Like, you never know what's going to happen in the comment section. Hey, there's Rob. Rob's here. He jumped in.
Hey, Rob.
So before we get too far in depth, I got to do my advertisement of the day for my new book, The Swiss Effect. So I will be, hopefully hitting some cities near you and doing some book signings and some speaking events. So there's that. If you haven't bought it yet, it's available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Just type in The Swiss Effect.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's my DJ radio voice.
Oh, my God. Terrible DJ.
So I have to cover something real quick before we get into our main topics today. So Shauna today at our normal job, she informed me that I am a D-list celebrity now. So that's like I'm on the list. I'll take it. D-list. I mean, I'm trying to get up to like B, like where Kevin Sorbo's at, but I'll take D. That's like we talked about it. That's Danny Bonaducci. So I'm like on the level with Danny Bonaducci. That excites me. And the conversation came up because I've been getting my Twitter page, or X, has been a lot more active lately. I've been on there a little bit more, and so I'm getting a lot more attention than I used to, and I've got a lot of followers on there. But every now and then, like, a celebrity will follow me. So today, I had two of them today, and one was John Cena. It's the actual John Cena. He followed me today, and then some radio guy out of Tampa, Florida, followed me today. I can't remember what his name is. Cremeen. His last name was Cremeen. But I also, while we were talking about Trump's cabinet people earlier today on Twitter, I posted, that I think that Newsmax's chief White House correspondent, James Rosen, should be the secretary, or the person that speaks, Karine Jean-Pierre. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on this job title. Press secretary. There we go. Press secretary.
I was just about to say.
So I think James Rosen should be the press secretary. This guy has been through the ringer, and it's time for him to have some success, even though he's very successful. But he was on Fox News, and then the liberals attacked him, and then he was kind of chased out of Fox News, and he ended up on Newsmax, and he does a great job. If you ever see James Rosen on Fox News, he's just in there tearing it up all the time. Or I'm sorry, on Newsmax. But so I tagged him in it. And and this isn't the first time I've talked to James Rosen. I've talked to him several times before. But he said, hey, thanks for the support, Eric. And, and then we was going back and forth for a little bit. But so that I had a celebrity filled day. So that's when Shauna said, well, you're now upgraded to a D level celebrity. So I'm going to take it, and it's going to highly inflate my already large head. And I'm probably going to be the most fantastic D celebrity there ever was. So
PR nightmare.
PR nightmare. What are you talking
Mhm.
about? I'm
Yeah.
not a PR nightmare.
Absolutely are.
I mean, maybe I probably am a PR nightmare. I'm not even gonna lie. I tend to just like when I'm caught up in the moment, I'll just say and do whatever. Sometimes, most of the time, it gets me in trouble. So I do have to be careful with what I say. That's why when I start touring with my book, Shauna's going to go with me and make sure she's going to hit me with like a cattle prod when I start to get a little too out there. But on today's show, we're going to cover two main things. So the first one is probably going to piss some people off, which I don't care because it says The Expendable Show on my computer. So that means it's my show. I can say and talk about whatever the hell I want. So the first one is going to be, we're going to talk about abortion. And then later we're going to go over the people that Trump has put in his cabinet, and we'll just see roundabout who those people are. So I want to cover the abortion thing because Shauna and you're going to have to help me on this because I'm not a woman. I don't identify as a woman. I don't dress as a woman. I clearly am a man. I like being a man. But like you've been seeing all the craziness on social media, right? About the women, like they're talking about Trump's going to take our rights.
Oh my God.
But I keep asking people on social media, I'm like, so what rights is he taking? I'm really confused. Like, seriously, I don't know. And they can't tell me. Either it's a secret or they don't know. So, Shauna, can you like give me some insight on that so I can talk about my game plan here?
I mean, as far as I know, nothing's changed. Well, I won't say nothing's changed. Some like because of what Trump has done and he's overturned Roe versus Wade, it has pushed now, instead of it being a federal decision, it's now a state decision on whether they're going to allow abortions or not. And the whole thing about it is like, first of all, I can speak for in Georgia that Georgia needed regulation in having abortions because I've known a few people that I went to school with that literally have had several abortions, that you should not just be able to go. Like, it's like you buying groceries, like, oh, I'm just going to have an abortion today. Like, it's just so simple and accessible. So personally, I think it needed to be regulated. I don't necessarily think like, oh, take it away altogether, but regulation definitely. I mean, I've seen it a lot in college. Girls were going across state lines when they found out farther along, when they finally realized the pregnancy isn't going away and they were farther along, they went across state lines to go to like places like Tennessee that allows abortions up to 6 months. So did it need regulation? Absolutely. Did it need to be taken away altogether? No, circumstances. But in my opinion, as a woman, I have not seen anything different in you being allowed to go and get one. Me and you talked about this before. Like, out of the 50 states, 37 of them, you can still go and get an abortion. Like, it's not like that right has been taken away from you. I don't really know why. Well, I mean, we know why the extreme is going on because of the media. They're making these women think that, oh, all your rights are being taken away altogether. As I always say, I would love for us to reading and comprehension, ladies and gentlemen. I just think, it doesn't hurt you or harm you to take 10 minutes out of your day and to read through things, like especially with the fact that we can't change that Trump is in office and he's going to be the president again. I think, it would really do you a service to go and actually read through his plans, what he plans on doing, the things that he said that he's going to change or implement into the system, stuff like that. So I think it would do you some good, and you might actually find out that this isn't turning into the Handmaid's Tales. And maybe let's not shave our heads and look like damn idiots and crazy people.
Nazis.
Because
they look like Nazis.
I'm not going to go that far and say that, but I will say you're looking a little crazy. We're looking crazy. I think
it does. They look unhinged.
Thing, like I think. I mean, I'm proud of us wanting to stand together, and we're saying we're going to put our foot down and we're not going to allow this to happen. I absolutely am with that. I think you know, Trump is doing something that we all don't agree on, and we're putting our foot down, and we're like, we're not going to sit around and just let you do this. Wholeheartedly hold him accountable, make him do the things that he said he was going to do, which are supposed to be for the people. Absolutely. This is not one of those times. This is a waste of energy.
Well,
it is a waste of time.
so Shauna, do you remember? Well, for one, Collins is in the chats now, and he said he didn't hear anybody bitching when the state legalized weed, and Rob agreed. So, and then Colin also said, if you don't want to have a baby, then don't have a baby. I mean, that's pretty simple. That's a pretty simple concept.
I mean, you know, I know in my high school we didn't learn about sex. That wasn't necessarily something taught. But you know, due diligence, people. There's birth control, you know, there's condoms.
Okay, my dad said that the liberals the girls look like Manson girls right now.
Oh man. Well, can't argue with that.
So here's the thing. And Shauna, do you remember when, I don't know, it wasn't even that long ago, it was like right before the election or right before the November 5th, when the liberals were running around, like especially like the congressional people, and I think even a lot out of the Harris campaign, they're like, Donald Trump's going to take away your women's, you know, reproductive rights.
Oh my God. I should have screenshotted some of the messages.
Yeah. And they were saying that Donald Trump is going to do a nationwide ban on abortions, which is absolutely not true. Donald Trump has not said he was going to do that. He keeps saying it's in the states, that's where it belongs. It's in the states, that's where it belongs. But for some reason, the liberals kept passing on this like scare tactic. And I think that when that was happening, instead of people going in and actually finding out what Donald Trump was actually talking about, they just ran with it. And so that's where I think a lot of this hysteria is coming from. It's coming from when the Harris campaign was stretching the truth on their constituents, which they did the whole election cycle, and decided we'll just but it's still wrong. Because and now they've created this problem.
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely created hysteria, but look at it this way. Like, she was a woman, you know, America's not perfect. You have men who feel like, oh, women shouldn't be in places of power where they should be making big decisions like this, you know, things like that. So they had to do that because you've got to condition people to think it's okay to have a female president, to have a quote unquote, you know, their campaign, a Black female president. So to say, well, you know, Donald Trump wants to take away all abortion rights, so of course you should vote for Kamala because she's not going to take your women's rights away. So that's the whole thing. Like, they had to, you know, roll it out like that because they can't say, oh, well, he overturned Roe versus Wade and he's given a decision to you guys. Basically, now it's your responsibility to go and vote if you want it. Like, they can't do that. That doesn't make him seem as shitty of a person. You know what I'm saying? So you can't do that.
However, yes, I understand that politics plays dirty. However, what the liberal side of politics, especially in the United States, needs to keep in mind is that they utilize the colleges and universities to radicalize young people. So when you plant that seed in these young people like they have been, and they don't get the results that they want, they're going to go to radicalization because that's what they're taught to do. So that's where we're at with this, where now it looks like we have a country with half mental patients running around, shaving their heads, getting resist tattoos, and putting blue hearts on their finger. So it's making them look unstable. And like, for me as a manager, I wouldn't hire these fucking people. So like, how do you know, how does that look? I don't want unstable people that's going to protest.
To be honest with you, it makes them look exactly like, I don't know if we're gonna binge watch The Handmaid's Tales because I know you've never seen it, but
I have actually watched it.
Oh, have you really? I'm surprised. Good job.
Yes.
Well,
So listen. I always wanted a wife like that.
Oh my God, shut up. Anyways, anyways, I think like more than anything, it's like you guys are saying like you're being so extreme that you don't even realize that you're literally putting yourself in that position. You're already putting yourself in a mental condition of where, okay, we're gonna make ourselves look like this. We're gonna be able to identify ourselves like this. Like you're literally creating the environment that you don't want so bad. And that's the thing where it's like it's
Right.
real, like you're really having a mental health issue right now because you don't even realize that you're so afraid of him taking away your rights that y'all have created the perfect conditions to exactly what you don't want. Because why would you all shave your heads? Why would you all get blue hearts tattooed on your fingers? Like you're literally creating this group where it's like, okay,
they look like they started a cult.
So all we need to fucking do is just go in there and like actually strip the
Right.
rights. We don't have to do nothing else. They've already done everything else. You created the perfect recipe for yourself that you don't want so bad. So it's like it makes you look stupid and it makes you look crazy.
So they look like Hitler's youth, and they look like they're in a cult. That's what I think. I think they look very cultish, and all this time they've said MAGA's a cult, MAGA's a cult. What the hell did you guys just do? You started your own cult.
No, they literally.
Now they're not going to have sex with nobody for 4 years.
Well, I guess that helped out. They wanted to depopulate the world, so there you go.
Yeah, we'll have 4 years of less liberals. Be a good vacation. Anyway, so I wanted to, now that we still don't know what their rights are that they've lost. I do want to go through the abortion statistics because I think that these young people don't even know what their own statistics are for what they're even bitching about. Colin, I have tattoos and a shaved head. I guess I'm not right. I already know that though. Dang it. I that's what I said. I made a TikTok yesterday about it. I said I joined the women's Nazi party. And TikTok didn't think it was funny. Anyway, abortion statistics. So let's go through this, and I'm going to try to break this down as easy as possible without confusing people. So there are 9 states, 9, that have no gestational period for abortions, which means you can have an abortion all the way up until that baby's head's coming out of the hoo-ha. And so those states are Vermont, Oregon, New Mexico, New Jersey, Minnesota, Michigan, Maryland, Colorado, and Alaska. So 9 states out of 50. So you're at almost 20% of America. You can have an abortion all the way up until a baby's born. So if you're in this Nazi party club for women and you are in any of those 9 states, I don't want to hear any fucking TikToks or tweets or anything about your rights because you got them all. Now, 20 states have a ban after 18 weeks. After 18 weeks. So now we're up to 29 states that you can have long-term abortions with. I agree with you, Rob. I think they should just put the child up for adoption. There's a lot of people out there that cannot have children, and now they're taking away their ability to be parents because somebody wants to have an abortion because they just couldn't take the 10 extra seconds to put a condom on or whatever. I think it's just right. They've gone too far, I think, but that's just my opinion. But we'll keep going. So now we've got 29 states. That's over 50% of the United States. You can have an abortion past 18 weeks. Over half. 8 more states ban it at or before 18 weeks. So here we are. We're at 37 states. 37 states in the United States you can have abortions without very much restriction. Now, there are 13 states that have total bans. And we can pretty much guess what states they are. They're all red: Kentucky, Alabama, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go through all of them. So when we look at statistic wise, 74% of the United States, so 3/4 of the United States, you can have an abortion in. So I don't understand why there's such an outcry for this. Yeah, Colin's already beating you. So yeah. But so now I'm going to dig into the statistics of how many abortions by year in the United States. So in 2020, there was 930,000 abortions in the United States. 930,000. There were 279. That's it. That were at-risk emergency abortions. 279 out of almost 1 million. Then 372 abortions happened from the cause of a rape. So we're at 600 abortions. And then abnormal conditions with the baby caused 1,116 abortions. So here we are, we're at 1,700 abortions in 2020 out of almost 1 million. So we're looking at like less than 1% of the abortions are for emergency situations like rape and incest, abnormalities, and high risk situations. So that's not even 1%. So what are they complaining about? I'm still trying to figure out what rights Donald Trump took from them, because the numbers don't add up with what they're complaining about. We can do the same thing. 2021, there were 625 abortions. 187 were at risk. 250 were from rape and incest, and 751 from abnormalities. So you're just over 1,000. 2022, 946,000. Same thing. 2023, over 1 million abortions in 2023. 300 were at risk. 1,200 abnormal, 415 were from rape. So that's about 2,000. 2,000 were necessary under most state laws. I would assume you can, Rob. So Rob asked if you can get the DNA from the fetus off the rapist. I bet you they can. Yeah, and you're right, Colin. The media and Comrade Kamala got women all riled up about this. It is a these girls are mad for no reason. So if we're looking at 1% are from at-risk situations that are in those criteria, so you've got like 98 point something percent, 99 something percent of abortions are from dumbasses being irresponsible. Period. And so I have to ask, like, what rights did they lose? Because if I get somebody knocked up,
yes, Rob, you can.
If I get somebody pregnant and I don't want the baby, are they going to abort it for me? No, I have to take responsibility and live with that decision, that bad decision I made. And I can either just be an absent father, or I can take responsibility and raise the child. And so the men don't get that decision. It's just like if I was with a woman and she got pregnant and she wanted to have an abortion, I'm not going to be okay with that. I don't want that abortion to happen. So that's part my child. Yes, you're carrying it, but that's my seed in there. And I'm gonna feel some type of way if somebody comes back to me and said, "Hey, I had an abortion. Sorry." I'm probably going to have a real tough time like restraining myself. Just saying. But the point that I'm trying to make is the hysteria surrounding the abortion laws does not match up with the statistics, or they're using those minor statistics to pump up their own rights to have abortions without repercussions. And that's what I think is happening. I think they're using these rare situations to justify open abortions for any reason. And I don't agree with that. And I think if there was a median, a lot of the conservative states and a lot of the conservatives have given away and said, hey, you know, we can do some situational abortions. And I'm okay with that. There's situations I think that we've talked about that could justify an abortion. Is it going to sit right with God? It's probably still not going to, just so you know. I would not have an abortion. So if I was a woman, that's me. That's me and my heavy Christian values. But I don't think this doesn't add up. And so this is why I get so upset with these women. Shauna, go ahead. You go ahead and talk.
I think people also have to realize how damaging it is to have an abortion. Especially if you have too many. I don't think people understand the process of abortions, and I think that's part of the problem as well. Like, there's there's a couple of different ways you can do it. Obviously, they give you like a pill that you can take.
Yeah.
Or you can get like it's like a physical surgery where they actually go in and scrape your uterine walls. That's very damaging because they're literally scraping your walls. So if you don't know,
right,
when you get pregnant and you like go into labor, like your contractions is basically your uterine walls thinning out so the baby can make it down and come out. So if your walls have constantly been scraped by getting this procedure, that's why a lot of women can't have children, because you've damaged your uterus. Like, you can't hold the actual baby. So to me, it's just like, I don't think people understand how damaging it is, which is why for me personally, it was upsetting when at first they were changing everything and they were like, oh, we're only going to do abortions up to like 9 weeks. And it's just like, you have to understand the reason why they were allowing it to be kind of pushed back, because they were running into the problem where women they were getting the surgeries, but they were still pregnant, because if you do it too soon, then you don't know if you actually get the fetus. You could just be getting tissue. And then if you wait too long, that morality clause comes
right,
in, because, scientifically they say a fetus isn't a baby until after like the 12-week mark, because that's when it actually initially gets an actual heartbeat. So, it's all these things. But at the end of the day, the whole point is that you do have to realize that this is a very dangerous thing to do to yourself, especially if you want to have children later. We're not even going to talk about on the spiritual end. That's something that your soul has to be okay with and have to live with. Me, myself, personally, I did have an abortion. I had one at the age of 19. I felt like it would be selfish of me to bring a child into the world. I was in college. I was living with my mom at the time. It was a lot of factors. I felt like it would be unfair in an unstable situation to bring a baby into. So I did make the conscious decision. And I, unfortunately, were one of the girls who the child's father at the time was like, well, he didn't want one. And I was like, well, I'm getting one anyways. And may have that been selfish? Absolutely. But I just felt it was more cruel to bring a baby into a bad situation versus a positive one where I would have been struggling. I would have been basically a single mother, things like that. So I made that conscious decision, but I did it for multiple reasons. Now, looking, 10 years later, I am a mom of twins. I was able to carry twins. I was in a much more stable situation where I'm able to actually take care of my children, be there, be present in their lives, things of that situation. Me and their father love them tremendously. So, it's all of those things that you have to initially worry about and do. But at the end of the day, it's definitely your choice, your decision. But you also have to understand how it impacts not just yourself, everybody else around you. You know, a lot of my friends, they were telling me, oh, well, you know, what if the baby is going to be something and you take that baby out of this world, you know, things like that, blah, 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 if you believe into all that stuff. But you know, at the end of the day, this is a very damaging thing to your body. It's a very damaging thing to your spirit. So you have to put those things into play when you're making decisions like this. But at the end of the day, the extremity that these young women are showing to show their upsetness is very over the top and too much.
Well, I respectfully disagree with you. However, I mean, I understand when you're young and you're not really like making it in life, or you don't know how you're going to make it in life at that time. So I get that. It's a tough situation. It's a tough thing to do. However, I was watching this video where this lady was like, I've had 8 abortions and I don't want Trump to take away my, bro. Yeah, 8 abortions. It's time to hang it up.
It's more surprising
Like,
that she's even able to still have children at that point. Like, to be honest with you, to literally say that you've had 8 abortions and you're still able to have kids is a little wild. But, you know, you do have those. I definitely know a few girls who, since middle school, that's been having abortions and still having kids to this day. And we're almost 30. So it's definitely possible. But once again, you know, at that point, you know, like you said, at the end of the day, like realistically speaking, the situational abortions is very little to none compared to people just wanting abortions because they don't want to be a baby mama or they don't like the baby daddy or whatever the situation. You see more of just irresponsibility than it is something that's actually wrong. And that's the whole problem with the abortions. It definitely needs to be regulated. It definitely needs to, you know, that's why I said, like, I know at one point Georgia, I don't know when they stopped, but at one point Georgia used to have it where you weren't allowed, like you were only allowed to have like 1 or 2 abortions within the year. And then other than that, they would deny you at any abortion clinic. I don't know what's happened to those rules. I don't know what's happened to that logic, but that used to be something that Georgia
Stacey
did.
Abrams.
So, and that could be that as well. So, I mean, but yeah, you know, it definitely needs to be regulated because at the end of the day, you are just seeing it, a huge amount of it is irresponsibility. And that's the thing, like people just, it's to me, it's more just women being spoiled. Like you just feel like a man is telling you no, that you can't do something. So this is why we're seeing this outrage. And I guarantee you, majority of these women who are like, I'm going to shave my head, I'm not having sex for the next 4 years, they all love to claim themselves as feminists. And I hate it. I hate feminists. I do. Me as a woman, I hate them. They don't actually stand for women. They're just very selfish individuals personally. But yeah, I I think it definitely needs to be regulated. But just
going in,
just read
that real quick. Wait, hold on, Shauna. So you're talking about the feminists. So I was watching a video today where there was a feminist on there, and you know how Russia released the pictures of Melania, like some of her nude pictures.
So they say.
What,
so they say it was Russia. So they say it was Russia. But okay, yeah, sure.
The feminists on there were attacking her. It's like, oh, what a despicable person. I was like, what?
Yeah, so you think we want to see bald-headed bitches walking around that say they represent America? Absolutely the fuck not. I'm choosing.
But the thing is, like,
a porn star any day. I'm sorry, I know that sounds terrible.
but here's the thing. If it was Russia, if it was Putin, and he's got his people releasing this, so you have a man exploiting a woman, like, isn't that anti-feminist? Like, would the feminists want to go to bat for Melania Trump for that?
No, because she doesn't fit into their quota. And that's the whole reason why I don't fuck with feminists.
That's fucking stupid.
It is, but that's how they are, which is why I do not like the whole feminist, oh, I'm a feminist and I'm all about women. because the moment that that woman doesn't fit into that bubble, a stereotype for them, then it's no protection, it's no unity in women, which is why I hate any woman that's like, I'm a feminist, because they do not stand for women. And you see it all the time. I mean, yeah, you might feel some type of way that our first lady used to be a porn star. I mean, that's not amazing, but I mean,
she wasn't a porn star.
Like it,
she was just a model.
Well, yeah, we still seen her down in her knickers. But the whole thing is still that, regardless of that's who she is, she's not doing it now. She's been very respectful. She's been fully clothed every time we've seen her on TV. You know what I'm saying? So you just you got to get over it. I understand that it's not like what you would want, but that's life. We don't always get what we want. So you got to get over it. But to demean this lady and to pick her, what?
No, I mean, I get what you're saying. Like that you can't. It's hypocritical. But let's talk about Donald Trump now. The greatest, probably the greatest president in history. So Trump has been picking the last few days his entire staff, which is awesome. So actually, my first choice for press secretary is Theo Vaughn, but I know he's not going to win. I would love to listen to him talk to the press for 4 years. Shauna, do you know who Theo Vaughn is?
No.
We should watch Theo Vaughn.
Noted.
But
I will.
So Trump has Wiles, but Susie Wiles has been Trump's campaign chair this whole time. She's the mastermind behind this mandate that Trump did. She is extremely good at what she does. She's a winner. She got Rick Scott elected. Everything she touches wins. And so for her to be the chief of staff, I'm very excited. I think she's going to do a phenomenal job. She's the first woman in American history to be the chief of staff. Rob, I'm going to come back to your comment here in a second. So deputy chief of staff for policy is Stephen Miller. He was Trump's former senior advisor. He was also Trump's speechwriter, which he's probably not very good at that. Trump never used the speeches. He just did whatever he wanted. The national security advisor, Michael Waltz. I love him. He's a combat vet. He's on the House Armed Services Committee, the Foreign Affairs and Permanent Select Intelligence Committees. This dude's legit. And I think he's going to do a fantastic job as national security advisor. The guy's intelligent, knows the shit. The border czar, the real border czar, is going to be the Tom Homan, who is my favorite person out of everybody on Gavin Newsom over Gavin Newsom's stupid comments about he's not going to cooperate with ICE. Tom Homan said, we'll see about that. And I believe Tom Homan. I think he's the type of guy that if you give him a job, he's going to go get it done. Yeah, Colin, I think Dolph Lundgren is going to get appointed head of Secret Service. I think I already heard that. Which would be probably the great. So Tom Homan, he was the ICE director under Trump, did a great job. Took a lot of really big questions in Congress about immigration, and he hammered them back. And really didn't back down. Secretary of State, they just announced, is going to be Marco Rubio, Cuba, and Venezuela. We need a guy who's not going to bow down to those countries. And I think Marco Rubio is going to be a good choice there. He's a senator out of Florida. He knows the Cuban communities. He knows the Latino Hispanic communities. and he's not a fan of China and Iran. So what's bad about that? The director of Homeland Security is going to be South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem. So Kristi Noem, for those of you who do not know who she is, she reminds me of my high school principal, and she's got these she's really, really pretty, but she's got these piercing blue principal eyes. She throws them on you like you're frozen. I think she's a no nonsense kind of woman. I think as Homeland Security Secretary, she's going to do a great job. I've never South Dakota has a surplus. She does a good job, with the budgets and everything there. It's a very well run state. The UN ambassador is going to be Elise Stefanik out of New York. She's pro-Israel. She's a House member. She's been a huge Trump supporter. Trump even considered her for VP. The new border czar is already making waves. Tom Homan's not the kind of guy that's going to fuck around. He's a no-nonsense guy. Trump gave him a job, and he's one of those guys. He's going to do that job, and he's going to pound it down your throat until he gets it done. So I'm very excited about Tom Homan. But Elise Stefanik, she's going to be a good UN ambassador. She's very vocal. She's a good leader. She's really good at kind of, standing her ground. And when you're a UN ambassador, you're going to have to stand your ground. Shauna quit, and now she's trying to get rehired. So the EPA administrator is going to be Lee Zeldin. So I'm not real sure with Lee Zeldin. I like Lee Zeldin, but for him to be EPA administrator, that doesn't really excite me all that much. We need somebody who is gonna, really, be there for the environment in a non-scamming Green New Deal way. I think that's going to be Lee Zeldin. So, it's somebody had to do the job. So why not have Lee Zeldin do it? So the CIA director, Trump is appointing John Ratcliffe. John Ratcliffe was in Trump's first administration. He did a great job. He was a former congressman. We need somebody who can be transparent in the CIA to a certain extent. I understand that the CIA is just not going to dump everything that they're doing out on the American people's lap. It's not a safe thing to do for the people out in the field to do that. I understand that. But I do feel like that if the CIA director gets subpoenaed to speak in front of Congress, that they have an obligation to the American people to answer those questions. And that is something we did not see out of the most transparent administration in history that weren't transparent about anything. We just had director head after director head testify in Congress that they didn't know nothing. Oh, I didn't know. I don't know nothing about that. I can't really speak to that. What Mayorkas used to say all the time. It is a pleasure and an honor to work for this leadership and this administration. Bro, this isn't a pump up Biden session. This is an answer the fucking question session, and you refuse to answer it. And that's what we got a lot of out of the Biden administration. So with Trump's people, if they get called to Congress, I expect them to answer questions because they're not going to be exempt just because they're conservatives, just because they're handpicked by Trump, that they don't get to just hide things from us. I want to have answers. If there actually is an issue where this does hurt, an investigation that's in progress, okay, I get it. But if you're not going to be able to use that excuse for every question. So the CIA director, John Ratcliffe, I like him. He's going to do a good job. He kind of reminds me of the brother nobody likes on Yellowstone. So I don't know, maybe he won't do a good job. So the White House counsel is going to be William McGinley. He's a lawyer. He was Trump's White House cabinet secretary. He knows his way around Washington. He's kind of a behind the scenes kind of guy, which is cool. Now, here's a big one that all of the liberals are pissed about. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. So Pete Hegseth is a longtime Fox News host. And for liberals, they're using that as a way to say, oh, Trump isn't hiring anybody that has any experience. He's just putting a Fox News guy on there. But the liberal media knows that Pete Hegseth is a decorated Army vet. This guy has 2 Bronze Stars. Like, he's been there and done that. He's had 3 deployments. He's got a Princeton and Harvard education. This dude is going to be just fine as defense secretary. And he loves his country and he loves the armed forces. He's going to be perfect. People are going to want to enlist to fight for this man. And with our enlistment, numbers being so down, this is the guy we need to bring him back up. He's going to be great for recruitment and all that. I see Pete Hegseth doing things that that defense secretaries of the past have never done. And I'm going to bring up to you liberals watching, go look up Barack Obama's defense secretary, Ash, and he was a career idiot, never served in the military, never had any experience in the military. He wasn't even a fucking cop. So who's qualified? The Department of Government Efficiency. This is going to be a fun one too. That's going to be Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. So they're going to tag team this and they're going to go through the government. And I was just talking to my cousin about this a little bit ago because he's a little concerned about, he's a Republican, so he says, but he swings on the liberal side on everything. But so he's like, oh, these guys, I don't know if they're going to tear our country apart. I'm like, no, they're going to go in there. The government's going to get a heavy audit. It's something that should have been done decades ago. But instead, the greed took over and everybody kept funneling money, bouncing money here, bouncing money there. Hey, I need money. And so Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are going to go into the 428 government branches and trim them down to 99. That's their plan. And that's going to free up so much money because we're going to fire a lot of these idiots that sit at desk. You're right, Colin. It's never happened. Nobody's audited. This audit has never happened in the history of the government, and it's long been overdue. We needed this to happen. There's so much wasteful spending in our government. I'll bet you we can probably watch our debt start to go backwards as soon as this is done. Trump told Elon Musk, he said, I want this done by 2026. And Elon Musk says, I'll have it done way before that, brother. So I believe that with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy doing this is going to be a big game changer for America. And I'm excited to see what they find and what they're going to do. Yeah, I definitely, you know what? Yeah. Maybe we could send some guys up to do it for you. We'll send old Elon and Vivek up there. We'll, kind of get Trudeau out the way for a little bit. We'll go through all the wasteful spending that I'm sure is going on in every government in the world. So I'm going to be interested to see how this all turns out and what they find and what exactly they're going to do with what they find. Which I must be I got Marco Rubio on there twice. So the ambassador to Israel is going to be Mike Huckabee. So I like Mike Huckabee. I think he's going to be a good ambassador for Israel. He's a very kind of like mild-mannered kind of guy. He's just kind of chill. You see him on his little commercials playing his guitar with his buddy, and he's like, but he's a serious politician. This guy's run for president a few times. He was governor of Arkansas once. His daughter is governor of Arkansas right now. Mike Huckabee's a good guy. He's a very good guy. And I think Israel needs somebody that can be compassionate and understanding towards, whatever they're going through. Hopefully we won't need to use them too much. Hopefully Trump can get in there and say, hey, we got to work out a deal here. This fight's got to stop. And then we won't need Mike Huckabee to do anything but hang out with, the Israeli people. So special envoy to the Middle East is a guy named Stephen Witkoff. I had to look him up. There's nothing special about him. He's a businessman. For me, this appointment doesn't make sense. I'm going to do some more research on him. There's got to be some kind of, Middle East connection there, maybe. But to me, I'm not understanding that cabinet pick. So Attorney General, this is another one I'm 50-50 on. I don't know if I like it or not. It's going to be Matt Gaetz, which Matt Gaetz is a lawyer. He's a House member, but he is a very controversial person. And I don't think Trump needs people in there that are going to be a distraction. And I worry that with as outlandish as Matt Gaetz is, that he could potentially become a distraction. Hopefully he just knuckles down and gets to work and really, zeroes in on getting our legal system put back together in a normal kind of sense. The Director of National Intelligence. This is one I love. The Democrats hate. Tulsi Gabbard. She was a diehard Trumper there at the end. She served in the Army, which I love. She's a bad woman, which I don't think I'd want to cross her. She's a former presidential candidate that ran as a Democrat. Now, it does worry me that she's still kind of a new conservative. I guess she's always kind of been conservative. She's kind of been back and forth. She's definitely an independent moderate, more or less. But the Democrats all say that she's a Russian asset. I don't know. I'd have to go back and research all that and go dig down some rabbit holes. And I don't have time for that. So my dad told me that Kash Patel has been named director of the FBI, but I cannot confirm that. I hope that that's true. Since the CIA director's already been taken, I would assume that Kash Patel would end up being the FBI director, which for those of you who do not know Kash Patel, this guy's a great defense attorney. He worked for the U.S. one of the prosecutor offices for the United States. But he's a good guy. He's been with Trump for a long time. He's been diehard loyal. He was just here in Gwinnett County not too long ago. I love Kash Patel. I think he's going to do a phenomenal job. He's going to get the FBI back in line, which we drastically need, and get these guys actually, the guys at the bottom that are trying to do the right thing. Let's, give them a leadership that they can depend on to do the right thing with them. So Kash Patel is going to be a big one. Shauna, do you know anything about any of those people we just talked about? Is there anybody that sticks out that you don't like?
Besides Vivek Ramaswamy that you keep talking about all the goddamn time.
I like Vivek Ramaswamy. He's smart.
I know you do. I'm just telling you.
He's one of them guys. He's one of those guys that you don't want to sit down and debate because he's got like an endless database of information in his brain and it works really fast for him.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very, very smart man.
Well, that's good.
But Elon Musk already said that. Elon Musk already said that he's going to start making some merch for their department.
Oh my God!
They're calling it Doge, DOGE, because the Department of Government Efficiency. He's going to make some merch. We're going to have some Doge. We're going to get some Doge shirts. So it's going to be awesome. You know how pissed off the liberals get when he does that? He's doing it to piss off liberals. But it's funny because they're all saying he rigged the election somehow. So whatever. But you don't see Kamala Harris talking about much, which reminds me, there definitely is a lot of tension in the White House. Like they had that little event the other day and Jill Biden had to sit next to Kamala Harris and it looked really, really awkward and uncomfortable for them both. Jill Biden wouldn't even look at her. I was like, yeah, they don't even like each other and it shows. They don't have to fake it in public anymore, which is funny. I know, right, Colin? I'm getting some Doge stuff. I'm going to be all about that. Let's trim the fat. That's what it should say on the back. Trim the fat. I'm all in. As soon as it comes out, I'm going to get some. And the liberals are calling Elon Musk the dark MAGA king. The dark MAGA king. Okay, so FEMA. Rob, you brought up FEMA. Before we get off here, I'm going to talk real quick about FEMA. So the FEMA theory has been going around for a long, long time. There's a humongous FEMA office here in Atlanta. And at one point, somebody in Atlanta snuck into their little compound and took a picture of thousands of Rubbermaid caskets that they had stacked up everywhere. And this was like probably like right around 2016 when Trump was going to run the first time. So I don't know if they were actually rubber caskets. There's FEMA. FEMA does have emergency powers for things, and I think that's where a lot of this stuff comes from. But FEMA's in trouble right now, and Trump's going to go in there and he's going to dismantle FEMA and figure out who is the person that ordered to ignore properties in North Carolina that had Trump signs in them, because that's a dereliction of duty. It's neglect, and somebody needs to go to jail for that. And I'm going to have to look into that, Rob. I'm not real sure. FEMA does move around a lot. I was told they were up in Michigan doing something too, that there was 200 and some vehicles up in Michigan. But then I heard people from that town were getting on TikTok saying, hey, I live here and there ain't nothing going on. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I can get on Google Earth later and see if I can find them. But I haven't heard anything about Wisconsin. I'm going to look into that, though, because with as many people that keep saying stuff is happening, yeah, she was definitely ordered to do that. And I feel bad for that lady because she's just following orders. But I'm glad she was a whistleblower about it, because they fired her. She became the scapegoat, and I don't think they should have done that to her for following orders. And then she, it was wrong. What they did was wrong. You're putting people's lives in your hand. But Rob, I'm going to look into that whole FEMA thing and see if there's something there, or if it's a big nothing burger or whatnot. I know that there's a lot of chatter out there about FEMA. There usually is, though. There's the whole FEMA and United States Marines shootout that everybody thinks happened in Hawaii. We'll never know the truth whether or not that actually happened, but I don't trust FEMA as far as I can throw them. So I'm waiting on them to screw up, because I'm going to jump all over it. Yeah, I'm definitely going to look into it, Rob. I will get a report on the next episode, and I'm going to dig deep into that. It'll be a good research project for me to do for Sunday. So that is going to be the end of the show for the day. Thanks, Colin and Rob, for tuning in. And thanks to my dad, who I know is tuned in. And Shauna, be safe out there.
I am. Jeez. You guys be safe too.
You look like Michelle Obama in your picture.
Thank you. That means my melanin is melanated right now. So, boom, there you go.
Well, my melanin's watermelon.
Yeah.
And I'm out. Peace.